This is Greg Troutwine with Maritime Reporter TV, and we're here today with John Melanch and Micah Waldstein of Oxalis to discuss their approach to help ship repair yards streamline its operations. So gentlemen, to start us off, can you please tell us what exactly is the Oxalis ship repair system and tip integration?
Sure, I'll take that one, Greg. So Oxalis ship repair solution, which we call OSRS, recognizes the fact that ship repair and maintenance is a team sport. You've got folks working on the deck plate, you have subcontractors, you have the client, the owner, the certifying bodies, and OSRS exists to help coordinate and collaborate between all of those groups. So our tip integration very specifically is to help shipyards in the US working with the US Navy. So you have a test inspection that you perform. It needs to be reported into the Navy's maintenance database, or NMD. And with OSRS, you can collect that information from wherever it's happening on your yard, perform an internal QA cycle, and then submit it directly into the system, with greatly reducing the administrative overhead of having to copy from, at worst, paper forms, or at best, shared Excel sheets into the online interface, and also greatly reduces errors by validating, making sure that all of the data is right before it gets to the end customer.
You know, ship repair is obviously a very physical, hands-on sport. How does your system specifically reduce the time in the yard?
So OSRS helps save yards time in a couple of different ways. First, in ship repair, there's a lot of hidden administrative costs. Everyone at the yard is probably responsible for doing some amount of paperwork, and using OSRS greatly reduces that time, making it a lot easier to make sure that the right data is entered the first time around. So if a craft supervisor submits an inspection report, PM doesn't, or more likely their admin doesn't then have to go and chase them down to get the right information in. And that's actually often the best case scenario. In the worst case, that bad information gets to the customer. And in the case of US government jobs, often there's big financial penalties that come along with having that information incorrect. So by having OSRS handle the data validation to get the right information in the first time, by then mediating the collaboration when there does need to be some back and forth, it really reduces the overall amount of administrative time that a yard spends.
Okay. If I understand correctly, you're not just in the marine business, you're across several different industries. Can you give me some insight on how much of your business comes from maritime? And I just want to go back also, you mentioned specifically the Navy. Is this designed specifically for Navy and or commercial yards?
I'll jump in there and answer the last question first. So this is definitely for ship repair organizations that also potentially have shipbuilding capacity as well, that are doing commercial and US government type of work. We think that most ship repair organizations are going to be covering the full spectrum with their capability and capacity. And so you need to be in tune with that. Now, when it comes to government interaction, that's where things get more challenging for most ship repair organizations. There's a lot of regulatory compliance. There's also a lot of integration needs and a lot of required reporting and data that needs to make its way into those government bodies. So this system is all about addressing that collaboration and teamwork that needs to happen to reduce errors and omissions that are happening upon submittal to those government bodies or to commercial customers or commercial bodies. It works for both. And also improving the collaboration with the end customer's communication back into the ship repair organization. This is about communication, collaboration, and teamwork in a system that encapsulates it all. Now, your first question was about us covering a broad spectrum of clientele. And we do. And what I would tell you is that we work with other defense industrial-based companies that are doing other types of similar work, either in a commercial sector, but also subcontracting through government. We also work with other companies that are in aerospace, for instance. The way that these it folds in is that technology has traditionally been restrained by regulatory needs and by compliance needs. And as a result, a lot of software doesn't get built or deployed to these kinds of industries because they're hard. It's hard to do. So if you don't factor in security and compliance in your approach to rolling out this kind of technology to really help teams collaborate, and if you don't get the purview of the wider body of people dealing with this problem, you end up not creating tools that are as efficient as they could be. There's a lot of lessons learned from other industries where they're doing things differently that should cross over into maritime. Now, Oxalis is very much a maritime industry focused firm. It's the majority of our portfolio of clientele. And we do service other customers adjacent, but I feel that this is a common thread across all these different types of industries.
Well, I'll assume that if it's like everything else in the maritime business, there is no one size fits all solution.
Right.
So if I'm a shipyard and I'm interested to explore your solution, could you give me some guidance on how long it takes to install from start to finish and how much it costs?
What I would tell you is to expect about a month-long implementation at the minimum in terms of rolling out a solution. Now, you can turn on technology very, very quickly these days, and we do. But if you don't factor in the training of your personnel, the processes that you're trying to implement, and the successful transition of that onto the first projects or availabilities, you're going to set up your customer for failure and for not being able to get the true value out of these types of tools and systems. So we take transition very, very seriously. So that baseline of 1 month can go to multiple months depending on the customer and the size of the ship repair organization, and especially if they have many different teams using these types of tools and solutions in the field. What I would tell you is that we've seen a successful pattern of building an understanding of what this is, the core capability, training and allowing the teams to familiarize themselves with these tools in a sandboxed and safe environment, and then a deployment trial with an existing project that is representative of the type of work that people do. When you get past those three phases, you're in a good position to scale that across out in your entire organization to handle and encompass all your ship repair project activity, but also across multiple sites if you're a multi-site type of organization. It's also a scalable model. I'll go ahead and cover the pricing aspect of that too. There's an entry point, and at the basis of that entry point, it could be used for commercial entirely, or it could be used for commercial plus government. And the way it works is that we price in a per use model. So if you're using this widely, you're needing more support from Oxalis. Oxalis isn't just a technology company. We come with a service. And that service is helping you set up, integrate to your government or to your commercial entities, and making sure you're successful for the life of your project. This is our customers are reporting that this is definitely saving them in resource time, but countless hours of efficiency that was wasted previously is now not wasted, and they're far more productive, and to the tune of tens of thousands of hours a year.
We've discussed where you've been and what you've done. Now, can you give me a little insight on where Oxalis is going in the maritime sector?
So our phase one here is to provide that tools to the industry that has been lacking. And we're excited to do that at a more scale. And we're excited that this problem is also not just one of a US nature, it's international. And we're excited to bring these kinds of capabilities to other companies that are not here in the United States. That being said, we're focusing on data capture, data entry, and making sure that's really good quality for the business to understand what they're doing and how they're doing it. The next big capability is to allow those businesses to leverage their own data in their own proprietary way to do more predictive analytics, to understand where their business is going, and to have tools that help inform them of the right next step, or if they are truly missing a specific data that's important to their customer. We feel that with strong data being in an organization and there, you are now in a position to enhance this kind of product line to support the deep analytics and predictive capabilities that everybody's talking about with machine learning and artificial intelligence. You don't just go to that. You have to start with data capture. So we see a roadmap, multi-year, that's going to really advance and transform this industry. And we're extremely excited to partner with our customers that are currently and the future customers that are out there to bring these capabilities to light. And this is achieving the customer mission, the shipyard mission, and the US government mission.